We have a working bug list for you today. Traptrix are back at it again, and Dinomorphia, along with some other hot, heavy-hitting metagame contenders. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. Hey, when was the last time that you saw somebody out here trying out bugs? Well, I believe that we just barely got Guard Mantis recently. It's another little free extender for the deck. And of course, I see that we are playing some crawler shenanigans in here as well. This is not really a deck that you tend to think about being able to perform well anymore, but one of the talking points here, is Ninja Shadow Mosquito. This is something that our dear friends over at the Sprite Dome have been abusing for quite some time. It's just a huge monster. This thing does so much, and I see that we are also getting access to the ultimate great insect as well. A lot of people discounted this deck and tossed it off into a corner and said, hey, the insects aren't going to get the chance to perform anymore. DP was literally one of the things that allowed this deck to kind of hold itself together. And I know we're much further beyond that, but it's kind of nice to see this. I also see that we are getting to play the giant ball game. So instead of playing, the little pole spell card, we're actually getting the chance to do this. During your main phase, if this card is activated, you can special summon a level 6 or lower insect from your graveyard. Okay. And then you can reveal an insect monster, target one face-up monster your opponent controls, and one insect you control with less attack than the revealed monster. Switch control of those monsters, and if you do, the monster you took control becomes an insect. This is actually kind of cute. Insects having going second cards is always going to kind of feel extremely nice at the end. You're able to kind of overcome some of the more power creep. It's kind of been developing in the format, and of course, yes, we do have our one giant little insect normal monster in the deck. It's just not an insect deck unless, Goki Boar or one of the friends along the way is here to help us out. So, interesting take. I love to see it. It was able to top. Good stuff. What else we got back here? Traptrix. Wait a minute. Playing a Saki Tama in here? Now, I understand that a few people are going to look at this list and they're going to go, okay, so what's going on here? Why are we playing Saki Tama? It's another little monster that can go ahead and beam itself on out and then kind of assist you in the making of Rafflesia. Because let's still be honest here, Rafflesia is one of the best cards that this deck has going for it at the end of the day. And I see that we are playing the Ledger Book. Target 2 monsters, or up to 2. Your opponent controls, banish them until the end phase, and then your opponent gets 1,000 life points for each monster left by this effect. Spoiler alert, this is free. Alright, this is a blank 2 monsters off the opponent's field. And then, yeah, they'll come back, sure, but this is meant to take care of them. And then you're like, oh, hey, tee, we can't really do anything with this. Now, something a little bit different here that this build is doing, as opposed to some of the previous builds that we've seen be successful, is we have talents and thrust in here. This kind of opens up an interesting little door to, being able to abuse these cards, but you still have to be able to effectively trigger this. And if you can't really do that, then I kind of think you run into some issues. But, you also play one evenly for this. And, of course, this duelist was getting a little bit more spicy out here by playing the one bottomless trap hole. I haven't seen anybody trying to play bottomless out here, but I like the idea of what this is trying to do. And, of course, the greatest argument, do you need 3 Shade Brigadine with 3 Holtia? Well, this build is playing 2 Shade with triple Holtia. So, you have your choices around you for ratios, and then, of course, just 2 parallel exceeds. I guess you don't want to try to, ram down too many bricks in the deck, but I see what we're attempting to do here. I like this. List feels quite interesting, and, yeah. What else we got going on back here? Oh man. Dinomorphia. The first thing I want to tell you about this deck is I still love this deck. I think that Dinomorphia is an insane deck for what it brings to the table. But you got to remember, the deck is only as strong as Rexstrom getting the chance to stick around and be able to do something. Now, this build is also playing 1 copy Lady Labyrinth here. One big thing you have to understand with this, getting the small package of this included in the deck This is kind of just free, all right? The biggest things you care about here are getting to set the additional normal trap cards from your deck to kind of keep a little bit more of the steam going. And I mean, that's where you're seeing, you know, we're playing triple Big Welcome Labyrinth here to keep this little mini engine going. Now, you can gut this if you really want to, but it's a 4-card inclusion into the main deck to try to up the consistency of the deck, even just by a little bit. I'm fine with the ratios on the Dinomorphia monsters. This is fine. And then, of course, Wannabe. Now, for those of you that don't know what the heck this thing does, this basically goes, hey, you want a trap card turn 1? Okay, well, that's fine. You get to set and excavate a trap card equal to the number of your opponent's unused spell and trap card zones. And you know what? That's going to be... You're playing 23 traps in this deck. You should be hitting something with this. I mean, I guess variants could take hold and you could hit something really bad, but you got plenty of options. I mean, even if you hit the trap trick, you're going to be able to kind of play the game. Like, that's the biggest thing here. So, I love this deck. Frenzy is still stupid. Everything that this deck wants to attempt to do, easy. To be honest with you, outside of that, there's not really a lot else to consider out here for Dinomorphia. The deck is still... It's so stupid, man. Like, Rexstrom as a card just ruins players' hopes and dreams. So, good stuff. All right. We have... Oh, boy. You know, it's kind of nice to see that somebody is actually playing Phantom Knights without the Horus package. We've been on a giant exploration out here for this format, just seeing all these crazy Horus variants, and, you know, all of a sudden, finally, something nice. So what's this deck doing? Well, it's because of this card right here. Guess what? Mr. Rank Up Magic Launcher here lets you target a Dark Exceed monster you control with no materials, and then you can special summon from your deck a Dark Exceed monster that's 1 rank higher than that monster by using it and attach this card to it as material. Oh boy. That's right. You basically get to rank up into Ophion, and then Mr. Ophion, while it has Exceed materials, guess what? Level 5 or higher monsters cannot be special summoned. This is one of the oldest floodgates that we kind of have still floating around in the game that essentially just says level 5 or higher, no. And I think that's kind of the reason why Konami is afraid to give Evilswarm more support, because you have this little guy here kind of running around out here. So the whole point of this deck, you're going down Phantom Knight lines of play, which honestly they're not even that crazy. All right, like, basically setting up Rite of Armisia protection, obviously for, you know, sub setup, going down Shade Brigadine and Friends, or Rusty Bardiche, and then you're able to, you know, rank up into the Ophion and slow down your opponent. Now, is this going to be a floodgate that's going to win you the game every single time? No. I mean, if you rank up, I mean, you can go search for a Pandemic to basically make your guy unaffected. You have plenty of methods of things to do with this package to kind of assist you in trying to win the game, but it's definitely a much more interesting take than a lot of the previous ideas that we'd seen with Phantom Knights. Once again, I mean, Horus, like, this is the package, you need to be able to play this in order to win, says everybody else that has attempted to be successful with this deck. So, nice little change of pace for sure. And the last one we have here is some Infernoble from Jabril out here. Actually bubbled the YCS, which is a little bit disappointing, but you're getting the chance to see the Diabellstar package in here actually do its job. And I mean, level 1, fire, you gotta love it, man. You got plenty of little targets for this deck. And of course, on this channel, we talked about how stupid good Angel's Ring was, all right? I'm actually surprised that this deck really missed the mark, but Jabril, if anybody was going to be able to do it with this deck, it was actually Jabril, because we saw in the Kong's Cards tournament that this deck was insane. All right, like, when you have good prize pool and things like that, you're going to attract players that actually want to play. So, guess what? Angel's Ring being able to basically negate Dark Ruler No More. Problem is, Dark Ruler No More isn't really kind of seeing play in the meta right now. It's just, yeah, it is a good board breaker, but... And that's just kind of the thing. Also, 45 cards is fine. I don't really see much of an issue with this. You are going pretty crazy with Aqua Dolphin, still the best card that you can have for ripping. And of course, we chose to play triple Nibiru, the triple Imperm, and of course, triple Ash Blossom and Joy Spring for this list. I honestly think this list looks fantastic. Like, if there was a Warrior list that you wanted to test, I think that this would be the right combination of cards to kind of mess around with. So, that is all that we have out of today's deck list. A lot of insane things kind of messing around with out here in the format, but you know, for how bad this format looks according to a lot of people, it looks pretty good. So if you guys have had any success with any decks, please reach out to me on social media, send them on over, and I will see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.